All right. Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn and the rest of your Blerdsassins Next Door. We are here on this lovely April 13th, 2024 evening. And tonight we are going to be discussing how it is that Hollywood and many of its products got it wrong. But first, as usual, we start with the weather. And Roxanne, your top sitter tonight. So, how is your weather in the Maryland area?
Well, it's not too bad. It's around 60 degrees, clear. But I'll tell you, the wind earlier today, I was starting to feel like Dorothy. Um,
Oh,
and I guess the wind blew all the clouds away or whatever, if it's clear. But
excellent.
tomorrow it's supposed to be 77, which is great
Oh,
because I'm
wow.
going to be going down to DC. I got to announce this, excuse me. I'm going down to DC to spend a little time with my parents because tomorrow is my mother's 90th birthday.
All right.
Wow.
Yay.
Happy
Happy
birthday to
birthday.
her. How wonderful.
Yep.
How wonderful. All right. So what do y'all plan to do?
Oh, nothing. I mean, no,
Just hanging out?
we're just gonna hang out. I imagine, given the time I was told to be there, I imagine we're gonna have an early dinner or something.
Hmm.
And because 90 years old, you don't want a lot of folks hanging.
Probably not. Probably
Yeah,
not.
so I'll probably stay a couple hours and then come back.
All right.
But yeah, 90,
All right.
unbelievable.
Wow.
All right. Well, happy birthday to her then from us. Right. And James, you're over next. What's your weather like?
It's clear right now. It's 51 degrees, and just like down in Maryland, it was very windy today.
Really? Wow. Okay. But I mean, no problems for you because you were inside hanging out.
No, just trying to finish get my taxes done.
All right. That's a good citizen. Thank you. All right. Nikki, how's the weather down in South Florida?
Oh, it's nice. We've not had a lot of rain lately, but it's not been too hot and it's not been too cold. It's been nice.
All right. All right. Cool. All right. All right. Okay, Cranston, your weather?
Been spring, I think, is officially here almost. It's been in the 70s during the day. It gets down to the mid 60s at night. So if you can negotiate that, you're doing okay. Not a lot of rain.
You didn't get any of that bad weather that came through the heavy rain just this past week? No, you
No,
got none of it?
not at
Wow.
all. We had a couple of days that it was like sprinkling all day, but nothing really severe. It was windy a couple of days too, but other than that, it's been fairly tolerable.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, Otto, how about you?
Weather was beautiful. It was really good for the eclipse.
Yeah.
It was really a fantastic weather experience and visual experience. And
Hmm.
it was 65 to 70 today. It's trending a little warmer, but it's hot. It's hot here. But anyone who saw the eclipse, man, it was all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And Sonya, did you get to see it up there?
No, we had clouds all day.
Oh,
Oh
no, really?
man.
But we had a beautiful horizon because when it got dark, it was still light over in Canada. We were on Lake Ontario.
Uh-huh.
And so the lake on the other side, you could see the lights coming from Canada. So it was a beautiful horizon. And then it got
Hmm.
the sun came out again. Sun was out all day Tuesday.
No, great, great. It's one day short of, well, a
and we
child we
had
need it.
and we had snow flurries today.
You've
So
got to be kidding.
there was some snow this morning. Now it's about 48. So
Wow, wow.
yeah. So yeah, spring's not quite here yet.
Yeah, it's in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you all. Well, on this lovely area, with you said Cranston, we're kind of technically all the way into spring, and I posted this a topic a while back, this last week, about how they got it wrong because it came through a conversation that Otto and I were having regarding something we were watching on some television show and or film, and they were doing something, and we're kind of like, that's not the way it's done. But they act as if they're such experts, and the way that it was being done, this system was incorrect. But I'm sure between all of us that sit here and we have our various and sundry experiences, not necessarily jobs, but also hobbies, um, things that we have touched on that we know from our friends or relatives, that we watch something and we think that is completely, totally wrong. So just, whoever wants to start, have you ever sat down and watched something on television or in a film and said, that is not how it's done?
Yeah, I have. I wanted to mention Pulp Fiction
Hmm.
when Uma Thurman is has OD'd on that pure cocaine she wasn't supposed to snort, and Travolta calls the doctor and says get your butt over here. So anyway, they're in whoever's apartment and she's basically spread eagled, shirts open,
Hmm.
and the guy comes in with the syringe and he plunges it into her chest. Now that's very dramatic and it worked very well with the scene, except Hollywood forgot that there's a bone right there.
Uh-huh.
And if you plunge it into the chest like that, the stuff's not going anywhere.
Okay. And the thing is, so again, I saw it, and yes, it looks, really frightening, and oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I got to do this thing. But again, where would you put it? How would you do it?
I mean, I don't know, but I just know it's not going to go in the chest like that.
Hmm.
Where you have to feel around and get between the ribs to where the heart really
Where the
might
heart
be.
is, yeah,
Don't get a bone and the needle shatters and nothing
right.
happens. So,
But
yeah.
he put it
Hmm.
right here.
Okay.
I mean, like right there where that bone is.
Did he mark it first?
No,
I don't
no,
think
he
so.
just
They just lifted it up and just bam, just did it. They just bam, just hit it.
He's good.
Yeah, he
Or
he.
there's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
That's
Pope,
right.
Pope
Mhm.
lawsuit.
Pope lawsuit. I like
Pope
it.
lawsuit.
Hey, actually, that would be a good little short.
Yeah, Pope
Pope
Yeah,
lawsuit.
Pope
lawsuit.
lawsuit.
You
Pope
can't
lawsuit.
I don't know how the law is supposed to work, so I can't write that one.
Well, you
I
know
probably
what? I know how taxi cabs work,
Hmm.
and I don't know how many scenes from TV shows and movies I've seen when people get out of the taxi and then they bend down a little bit, and then they toss the money into the cab driver.
Hmm.
I've never in my entire cab riding life been able to get out of a cab without paying first. I
Yep.
don't think that a cab driver will allow me to get out of a cab without paying first. Back when they were
Those
taking
doors
like
lock
money,
automatically.
yeah, that like
Yeah.
when they were taking like money instead of even when they were taking like credit cards and other things, you're not getting out of that car without paying first
Yeah.
and a tip.
Mhm.
So it's like every movie you see somebody get out of
Yeah,
the
you're right. They
cab.
get out, then they turn
They
around,
ask the cab driver how
how
much,
much is, and then they pay them.
and then they don't even pay that toss the money in because they're paying from the passenger side. So it's like the cab driver is like some sort of animal that they throw the money in there. I've never
Yeah.
done it. I wouldn't even dare to try to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's funny because I didn't really think about it until you just said it. But yeah, every time you see a film and someone gets out of a cab, they get out of the cab and then they pay.
Yeah,
Because I guess
yeah.
it's not as, again,
I mean, it's not
dramatic.
like Uber. You
Yeah,
mean? I mean,
yeah.
like your Uber, you just get out,
Yeah, right. You just get out.
get the hell out. So
Yeah, because you already paid. They already have their
right,
money. So
right.
they're fine. But yeah,
Or
you're right.
or or the not the adjacent, not the opposite, but the adjacent
Hmm.
is paying for the sexual favors of a sex worker
Right.
after the sex act.
Yeah, yeah, that's another one.
Some
Okay, well, I'm not
John,
gonna pay you. It's like,
I'm
wait a
not paying.
minute,
That wasn't worth whatever.
that doesn't happen. Like what's it? The Tommy or the Gypsy, they asked the Queen, pay me before I start. They don't wait till afterwards. You get paid up front because everybody always says this. I gotta have this. I need this. I really desire this. And once they get it, then they don't need it anymore. All of a sudden, the sense of urgency leaves that interaction, and they're done with it, and then people don't want to pay. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah, none of this get up, get dressed, and leave the money on the dresser.
No, that don't happen. No, that money's gonna be on that dresser before you get undressed, and
That money is going to be in a lockbox before you
in a
get
lockbox.
undressed.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
that's
you don't get to ride for free. You
right.
just don't.
No.
And that's the impression that Hollywood gives about whether you're riding in a cab or riding in a sexual act.
Yeah, that you get
You
to
don't you don't get out. You
until
don't
you
get out and get
paid. Yeah, you
off
pay first.
without paying first.
And I think it's really funny too when you see things where people um, play instruments and stuff, and they're like in bands or something. You don't have as much as you used to. But when they act as if you just jump out there and you get your instrument and you just start playing, and say nobody ever warms up, you know, or they're out somewhere. It's like their instruments don't ever get cold. They're not blowing through their horns to keep them from getting cold. It just, they just step up, they just start playing, and everybody always plays in tune all together with no preparation. That's what that always got me. That no, it's like no one ever gets out and tunes, make sure that everyone is in tune with each other. They just start playing, you know?
Well,
And
it's
everything's
it's
perfect.
it's like
Huh?
that dance thing too. That
Uh-huh.
dance thing, everybody knows all the right steps, all perfect,
Right.
even though it's supposed to be a spontaneous dance.
Right,
Right.
right,
Right.
right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know it's something that has steps, for instance, and everybody knows how to do the electric slide. Okay, okay, we get that. Or the bus stop or something like that. But these other things where they jump out and everybody's just grooving and all of a
Well, I'm
sudden we're
thinking
all
in
to the same.
Footloose, where everybody knew the steps that he was doing,
Yeah, yeah.
and they've never danced before.
They weren't allowed
Right,
to
right,
dance. They weren't
right,
allowed to dance, yet they knew how to
right. But
dance.
yes, they do all the steps. That's absolutely true. Yeah, that's a good
And he
one.
only showed one person he only taught one person. So,
But
but
apparently everybody was
yeah,
home doing this on their own
yeah.
long before. And I'm looking here in the chat room, and we have a user saying, when I was a kid, my father would take cabs a lot with myself and my brother. Upon reaching our destination, myself, and my brother would exit the cab, and then my father would pay the driver through the passenger window. I don't know which
Well,
which
that's
city
news
is
to me.
this.
Well, I guess it did happen.
Yeah, I guess
It's
so.
never
What
happened in the
city?
city of
What city is that? It's not New
yeah,
York, right?
or the city
What
of
city?
brotherly love.
Yeah,
I don't know what city it was. I mean,
yeah. I
maybe
was
the
gonna
person will
say.
tell us, but
Yeah. Hopefully they'll be able to tell
yeah,
us.
yeah, because no,
You know, Penelope, going back to the band, this is a little off topic, but not off
Mhm.
topic. When I was a kid and we'd go to the symphony, um, I used to think the warm ups,
Mhm.
I used to think that was every orchestra's first tune was the warm up. And
this is
then,
awful.
they do all the rest.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
horrible.
yeah. Yeah, because they all do it. And the things, whenever you see them on,
Right,
films, that no one ever warms up. They
right.
just start playing.
All the strings are in tune.
Yes, yes. No, this person said New York, Harlem, that they got into the cab and got out of the cab, and then paid, turned around and paid.
Must have been a gypsy cab.
May have been a gypsy
Now
cab.
that's yeah, yeah.
May have been a gypsy cab. Because we used to ride the gypsy cabs when we were. Oh my God, my aunt used to have a fit. Now I'm riding those gypsy cabs.
Do they
So
have gypsy? They have gypsy Uber now.
No,
no, how could they?
I don't know. Someone can intercept your. I have no idea.
Look, I
I'm
went.
another
making it up.
no, another writer would.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. The rider intercepts here. I know
Yeah,
they started
another
being more
driver.
careful with
Yeah.
that because people would jump in somebody else's Uber and say,
Yeah,
"Wait
I'm
a minute, you're not the
Penelope.
right person."
I'm
Yeah, that's
Penelope, and I'm
me.
going to Black.
Yeah, I remember stopping to pick my mom up at the airport one day, and I was, at the curb minding my own business as I want to do, and some man just jumped in the car. I'm like,
Yikes!
"Whoa, what the heck?" and
And
you
what you
realize, oh, I
do?
got the wrong car. Like, what?
I
Like,
Well,
remember
I was so shocked.
when they
I
say you
remember
look for a black car and you see a black car and wait,
jump
how
in it.
many other? Yeah,
Yeah,
especially if it's
yeah,
raining. I've done that
yes.
once.
I
Mhm.
I
mean,
remember
I was so shocked. Like, I was like,
I remember the last taxi cab I ever took. That was about 7, 8 years ago. 7, 8,
was
I
it that
think.
long ago?
It could have been because and the reason I remember it because I was sitting at an intersection, and the meter kept clicking, clicking, clicking.
I remember we come back. We were at the airport, and it's taken a long time for us to get the Uber. The Uber went, they passed us, then didn't come back around to us, and then said, "Oh, we're going to send another one." And they didn't come. We said, "Look, this is ridiculous.
And the
We'll
price,
just
the price was
yeah,
like the price was like $40. And
40
that's
bucks." And we're like,
outrageous.
yeah, exactly
That's
outrageous."
outrageous.
So fine, we'll just take a cab.
We need to take a cab.
Hmm.
And I'm
Yep.
sitting there at the intersection and the meter is going 6510, 6520, 6530. It's just going up and up. And by the time I get to my
Oh my gosh.
destination, not only I got to pay all this money, way more than I paid the Uber, but I got
Hmm.
to tip this dude.
Yeah. So that was the last. That was the last cab drive that we had done. That was. I remember that because I mean, it's like you're just sitting there watching those numbers, just go up and up and up and up and up, and you're just sitting there, just sitting there. The car's not even going anywhere. So yeah, that was pretty rough. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember one cab. I was somewhere. I was coming from an airport, and I was going to a hotel back during the day when I used to travel for work a lot. And it was one of those. I was totally off schedule. Blah 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 blah
Mm.
blah. I just grabbed what I could and took off. And I remember on the way to the hotel watching the click click click. I'm like, geez, did I bring enough money? Because they weren't taking credit cards then.
Oh wow.
I'm like,
So at least
did
open
I
the door
bring
and let
enough
me out, okay? I'll just walk the rest of the way. Thanks.
cash? that was about it. But luckily, I had enough to cover the fare and enough for a small tip. They were not
Wow.
happy, but it's like, hey,
Hmm.
that's all I got.
Hmm. In the chat room, I don't know who our user is. It says most films that feature semi-automatic pistols, either the weapons aren't loaded and the character dramatically pumps the slide, it's loaded now, or someone inserts the magazine and starts firing, no bullet in the chamber. So yeah,
Okay.
that's another thing.
Yeah, I
People don't
hate
realize,
that.
yeah, you have
Yeah, I
to,
hate that. Yeah.
yeah, get a bullet in the chamber before you start firing.
Or they pull out a six shooter and it's a six shooter revolver, but they
Hmm.
shoot like 12, 13 times.
Yeah, yeah, but they figure most people aren't counting. They really are not.
I
I,
love when shows actually do mention it. 'Cause like, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's empty.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
empty.
They did that on FBI's on Tuesday. Counted how many he shot and went, he's empty.
Yeah, unfortunately, he got the pre Bill Clinton revolver that carried like
Yeah.
28 bullets in one gun.
Hmm. Yeah. And I mean, if those of us who are horror fans and stuff, that I never got through one, but I have to admit, people who watched what is the name of that thing, Twilight, and it's just kind of like, why even call them vampires? Just make them something else. Because
Yeah.
if it doesn't apply by the vampire rules, then call it. I don't know what you want to call it, but why
Oh,
call them
I mean, they
vampires?
thwart the
It's
vampire rules all over, man. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
like
it's like
vampires be looking in the mirror like before they dress and all this.
and they're glistening in the. It's like what in the and the vegetarians or something. I
They
don't know what the heck.
sparkle in the
They're
sunshine.
vegetarians.
I
I,
don't
I,
know.
I was never interested in Twilight or anything
I
like
know me either, and I just like. But if you're going to break all the rules, then they're not vampires. It's something else.
that.
Just
Right.
call it something else. Don't call. I don't. And that's what I don't like when there are rules to certain lore. Then people break the rules. They did that in Lost Boys, which irked the hell out of me. Which
What happened?
at the end of the Lost Boys, and I'm sorry if you have not seen Lost Boys, go la 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 la. So you cover your ears if you don't want to know what it is until some later time. Lost Boys at the very end, the vampire is in their house,
Right.
and the kids say, "Wait, but we did all the things that we're supposed to do, and it didn't. You weren't affected by it." So they thought, he wasn't the vampire. Well, no, because once you invite the vampire to your house, all the other things are powerless.
What?
I'm like, that is not a rule. That is not a rule. Regardless, all it is that once you invite them in, they can come in. They break that rule, but the rest of the rules are still in place. So I hated that in Lost Boys because that is not a rule. That simply because you invite them in, holy water doesn't work if you're doing the holy water thing. The silver doesn't work.
Where'd that
That
come
all
from?
that it's garbage. That's my
Well,
they
I want
got
to
it
know why
wrong
in
moment. I know
Salem's
it
Lot.
bothered me so much.
I want to know why in Salem's Lot that vampire was allowed to come in
Crash
those.
underneath their house, to come from
Yeah,
underneath
who
and come in
invited
their
him?
house. Well, you know what I'm thinking? The problem is, it's just kind of like I mean, they really took liberties with it. That when in the original Dracula with Renfield, who was an inmate in the asylum, that if an inmate in the asylum invites you in, then you're in. You know,
Wait
that's
a minute.
it.
I thought you had to be the owner
No, you do not have to
or
be owner. Nope, that
You
is
just
not
have
the
to
rule.
invite
You
it
have to.
in.
That's right, by a
by
person who
anybody.
who has the
Like you
right
could
to
come
be
to my
there.
house and invite a vampire in.
Yes, exactly. And I think that they kind of they pushed a little because what's the guy's name? The his Renfield person character, he came into the house, you know?
And then invited him in.
Yeah, but once he's in, that's
Yeah.
it. So I'm thinking they play fast and loose, but it's not as bad to me as saying, "Oh, simply because I invited you, the rest of the rules don't apply." You know,
Yeah,
and
that's
and,
pretty
and, and
bogus.
appar- yeah, and apparently the rest of the rules did still apply because he tells the priest, to test your faith against the master,
Well, that's
and
the thing about the
but he
cross,
tells him,
right?
to drop the cross,
Where'd that
right?
come from?
So apparently the cross would still work, but he wanted to. He's, oh, no, no, put down the cross. I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't get to make rules up in here,
No, but
you
I've seen
know.
vampire movies where they say you got to have faith for this to work. You know that
Well,
kind of
that
thing.
was the night. Was it Fright Night? They say you have to have faith for the cross to
Where'd that
work.
come from?
I don't know, but if you
That
think
was
about it,
also in The Omen.
and it was also in Salem's Lot, because remember when the reporter, well, the writer, he's in the hospital and he takes two tongue depressors and makes a cross, and he's like praying over these things, and it works, because he makes this thing with tongue depressors and it works. So they play they play a little fast and
It
loose
played
with the
too fast. I
rules.
mean,
Yeah,
nobody nailed Christ to a tongue depressor.
you know,
That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
no, they did not. Not
So
that I know of.
not that I
Okay,
know.
But a whole lot of things
so
involving the crucifixion did not happen the way that we say. So
so what if your vampire comes from another solar system?
as mine do.
Mine's too.
Yeah, it was, but
Then
So
you
they're
make
not
the
vampires.
rules.
Then
Yeah,
then you make
but you know
the
what?
rule.
But the rules still apply
they're not
because
vampires.
well they are, and the rules still apply
Why are they vampires?
because the rules apply because that's why the rules apply because they're not native to here. So the rules, those things that cause them trouble, are things that are native to this planet, and that's how they end up with these issues, these problems that they have, is because the silver, which is the blood of the planet, when the blood of the planet causes them problems. The sunlight causes them problems because they're not from here. So it's not like the you know vampire rules are made and then they are not really vampires. It's like no, the rules are made because they are the original vampires, and the rules are the rules that apply to them.
Well, if they
So
came
you're
from
saying
another
that
planet,
the rules apply to even apply to vampires from Altair's 4?
Well, no, because in my they were not vampires where they came from.
Oh, okay.
Being
The
here is what
vampires
made them.
here. Okay.
They made them when they came here. It's what made them into that. But
The
where they're from, they're
vampires. Okay.
normal.
But they're aliens, though.
That's right.
They're not
That's
really
right.
vampires
No, they're aliens, and what people who are from here come to recognize as vampires.
because they suck people's blood.
Yes.
So anything that sucks people's blood is a vampire.
I mean, people sometimes refer to things, even a mosquito, they'll refer, oh, that's a vampire or whatever.
Yeah, legends came from somewhere.
Yeah, and the legends come from them and how they have to navigate this world. That this how these people have come to be.
They are legend.
Yes. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah, the vampire legends are they're too bendable for me. I mean,
Well, I
they're
mean, well,
real.
they're not really. Just other people just kind of play fast and loose. Because
Yeah.
even so, like I said in my stories, they are vampires, but the rules all apply to them. Because the rules are made for them to deal with them.
Well, yeah, and in my book, the vampire who is the star of one of the stars of the story,
Kurt,
yes, Kurt, um, he breaks all the rules, but then it's explained that it's
he's
because
breaking the rules.
he drank the blood of an Amazon master vampire who, we don't explain this, but who also breaks all the rules. And that's the only way you can get to that level of power is
Mhm,
if you drink the blood of this Amazon guy. And
mhm,
that's what he did. And that's why basically, essentially, nothing but a stake through the heart is going to kill
mhm.
Okay,
But you've
with
established that as a rule, though.
him.
with
No, but that doesn't apply to other
No,
vampires.
no, but I'm saying you've
Yeah,
established that's that rule. He can't die. So it's
right,
fine within
Yeah,
your
but the thing is, we know that the things that happen to his abilities are not normal for
right.
other vampires. So
exactly. They're not
he is
normal.
breaking the rules. And for me, like Renfields, that they're all hybrids. So they're just like any other quote unquote daywalker. That they have all the good and none of the bad, or very few of the bad vampire traits. 'Cause-
Well, O.J. Simpson died this week, right?
mhm.
Yes.
And so I always tell people or ask people, I try to be cute. You remember the O.J. Simpson trial, and people say, "Yeah, I remember." Remember that time O.J. took the stand and told everybody how he didn't do it. They said, "Yeah, I remember that." Yeah, wait a minute. Do I? You don't remember. You know why it didn't happen? You know why? Because defendants don't take the stand in criminal trials.
Right.
90% of the time, unlike on television,
Yep.
if you're charged with a crime, you're not likely to take the stand. And we've been watching Perry
Perry
Mason
Mason.
like
Mm-hmm.
it's really
And
closely.
never
We haven't counted one time when a Perry
the Perry
Mason
Mason let his client take the stand.
take the stand
Ever.
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 But
A-
but on
and
shows like Law and Order and a lot of these other shows,
yeah,
you always see the defendant take the stand
and it
in their
never
own
happens. It
defense.
just never happens.
Yeah.
So
It
we're
so rarely
sacrificing
happens.
reality for dramatic effect.
Right, right. It's that it got it wrong. That's not the way it is. And in order to push their plot in a short amount of time, they want to get someone in the stand and they testify and they break them or whatever. But no, that's not how it's done. If you want to see how it's really done, again, watch Perry Mason.
Hmm.
That's how it's done. You know, they don't break people down on the witness stand. The
Or how about this,
defendant down the witness
Penelope?
stand.
How about this?
Uh-huh.
Surprise evidence. Like I got a witness on the stand, and they're testifying, and then they start to testify about something I haven't heard of before.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that doesn't happen either. Hey, let me tell you, if somebody starts testifying without the lawyer's not prior knowledge,
hmm
you got a real bad lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah, to let
a
that
real
happen.
bad lawyer or a loose cannon client
Or the guy
witness.
from Texas who
They had
fell
a play.
asleep. The guy from Texas who fell asleep during his his client's
Yeah,
capital murder trial.
yeah.
He fell asleep.
Just did this on Law and
But
Order.
it wasn't during. So it wasn't during the important parts though. That I fell asleep during my client's. murder trial, capital murder trial. Yeah.
Cynthia McDaniels.
Okay.
Cynthia McDaniels.
Yes. She's got something to say about this.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Take the stand.
yeah.
That doesn't happen on TV.
Where were
No.
you on the night? Here's like the question. Where were you on the night on November 11th,
Cynthia
2025, 2024, Cynthia McDaniels?
Yes. But you know what? And that's another thing. When people ask on court shows, where were you on the night? It's like,
Where were you?
I don't know where I
Where?
was last
What were you
week.
doing? Listen,
Are you
what were
kidding
you
me?
doing?
You know,
What were you doing on the night that Bubba Jones was killed? What were you doing?
I don't know. I don't know when Bubba Jones was killed. What do I have no idea what you're talking about. Be more specific. Ask me what I was doing Wednesday. I can tell you. But
I can't
well,
tell you what I was doing Wednesday. I mean,
you know
when?
what? You're
All
gonna have to
day?
really, yeah, you have to prompt me and stuff. Because I could not tell you. Where were you at 10 o'clock? No idea. It's like probably somewhere between here and Plano,
Where were you on
possibly.
November 10th, 2023?
We're out of luck, buddy. It's like I do. You're gonna have to come with some records or something for me to look at, and then I can say yay or nay based on these records because we are not relying on my memory. I don't see how people do that. I see these things on television. That,
Well,
back in what 1997, on such and
where were
such a
you?
day, where
Where were you? But the other thing about Perry Mason, you never see Perry Mason clients take the stand, but you always see like guilty people. They know they're guilty, right? They may not
yeah,
have been called as witnesses. Why the hell are you in
are
the
you
courtroom?
sitting in the
Why?
in the
I
courtroom?
would be so far away from that
Why?
courtroom.
There's no way I'd be anywhere near that courtroom. I'm on my way to Aruba, you know, or if better, Argentina, some non-extraditable country. That's where I'm heading.
Yeah,
My goodness.
you're sitting.
So,
You happen to be sitting in the courtroom. You're not
mm-mm,
called as a witness, but
mm-mm.
all of a sudden, I can't take it anymore. I did it. I did it, Your Honor. It was me. It's me all along.
I said, okay, I'm not doing that. That's not happening. It's like that doesn't happen. No
Well,
one does that. In fact, even if you wanted to jump up and start confessing, the judge would have you taken out.
Shut up.
Hey, let's come get you.
Yeah, you'd be
Shut
taken
up.
out of
Quiet
there.
in the court.
That doesn't happen. So
well,
stop
that's
all that
because it
nonsense.
didn't have that many black murders on Perry Mason. Because if the black person was a guilty party and they said they called him out, they just sit there and said, "Wasn't me."
It wasn't me.
It was me.
You
I'll
know?
tell you. I mean, and speaking of, I remember we watched. I don't know if we talked about this before. There's an episode of Perry Mason where there was a black judge, right?
Hmm.
And he did not have one line that entire show. I mean,
Not one
basically,
objection was
not
made.
one objection, not nothing. It's like they ran the entire courtroom without him saying one word. They would not let that black man say what, not even time to go to lunch or nothing.
There
Did
was
they
Nothing.
let him bang the gavel?
I don't even think he banged the gavel.
there
No.
was Judge Franklin.
Chuck Franklin sitting on the other side of the
Hmm.
On the other side, yeah. I mean, it was insane. I mean, we looked at the entire show. We're waiting for him to do something judgely. Not one thing.
He
They
sat there
would
in a robe.
not.
He was
He
in a
sat
robe.
there in the robe. They would not allow him to open his mouth and assert authority or control over that courtroom. And in fact, I think we went onto IMDb to look up who is this guy. And he is, an actor who has got, quite a long long list of shows that he has appeared in, but in that particular role, they would not let him say
Well,
one
okay, but
word.
I mean, I get it, but I don't get it because if you're not going to let the judge speak, then why bother?
Because
Why
you want
bother
to
Exactly.
with a
show
black
They
I
judge?
you
mean,
were-
want to
you
show a
had
black judge.
when I mean, and I'm going to tell you, Roxanne, if you watched it, you would immediately start to something's not right about the way the proceeding is going because who is it that's telling you, okay, there's no objections, so nobody ruling on objections. How do we know that we're passing the witness? right? But they're just doing this all on their own. Is that the judge does not exist at all. I mean, you just see him sitting there, but they do not let him say one word. Is the weirdest show I have ever seen. Perry Mason, where you have a judge and he's just not said anything. And have never seen a Perry Mason episode where the judge has not spoken ever and said anything. So that, yes, in that sense, they got it wrong. But of course, we know there's the racism in it. You
Yes.
know
I
that,
got it right.
yeah, they got that part right. The racism right, but the process is wrong. So that's one of my got it wrongs. Yeah.
But what about the New York City subway cars that they
Well, that's
always get
you.
wrong? They always get wrong. Now I know James remember this. I'm sure that Sonia remembers this too. But the old subway cars that used to have the fans at the top.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember
Hmm.
those.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
mean the ones that you always see them riding on top in the movies?
Sometimes, but the way the subway cars are mostly when you see them now, they're like there are no side seats. They're
Hmm.
all the seats are on the like it's straight through. So they're no
Hmm.
like there are no window seats, and that's just
No,
even
it is.
now it's like how
They're
long does it take for you
They
to
all
go look at a
they're
subway car?
getting ready. They're getting ready to get rid of cars that they have what they call conversation seats.
The ones where you face each other.
No, those that face each other they're keeping, but those where two people could sit and you have a window seat, they're slowly phasing them out.
You're
And also,
kidding. Why?
I don't
get
know. You have to
get
ask
more
them,
people
PA.
on.
And
What?
also the fact that we have these new gangway trains too.
They like the accordion thing on it. That
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can
but
walk from.
they don't exist now.
Yeah, but I'm saying that. But if you're taking away the seats where you sit two abreast, and we're all facing the same direction, don't those? Isn't that more seats than
Well,
if
the
you
way
just put the seats with their backs? Everybody's got their backs against the windows. Well, I mean,
no,
You
it
doesn't
can
used
that?
to
stand
be
you can
it
stand
used to
more
be
people in it.
you have window seat, right? You had a window seat
Uh
and the
huh.
train is
Uh huh.
going in the direction and you sit on the window seat and
Mhm.
it's going in that direction. And then behind you is another window seat.
Right. Right.
And for
Right.
that person, the train is going backward, right? But it's still going forward. But it's a window seat.
Right.
Right. Right.
So you don't see that on television. On television, those seats are gone, and all you see are seats that are
The
against the.
back against the
No,
window.
actually, on some shows, they have you'll see a train that has window seats.
Mhm.
The only problem is you can see the train. You can tell by the way that the train is that they're filming in Toronto
Uh,
or Indiana,
it's not
something
a
like
New
that.
York train.
Right.
Too
Right.
damn
Okay.
clean. That's what it is.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you. The last time I was in New York, and it was a while back, but it wasn't that long ago. I found the trains to be pretty clean, way cleaner than when I was a kid.
Yeah,
When we
but
used
that's
to go to New
comparison.
York when I was a kid, they were very,
You're talking
very dirty.
comparative. You comparatively speaking.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I mean, but I mean, much cleaner nowadays than they
Speaking
were when
of
I
New
used to go.
York trains, I my first visit to New York, or I actually, walked around. We had family in New York, so I've been going up there since I was like 3 or 4. But I was with my mother, and this would have been about 1977, 1976, somewhere in there. And so those were those really raggedy train cars, and and they were just covered with graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
My mother thought they were a city beautification project.
The
She thought
graffiti.
Wow.
it was pretty.
Your mother was
Cool.
cutting edge. She was cutting
Yes,
edge
she
Yeah.
was.
Cool.
because it was some of the graffiti
Some of
was
it was
Some of it
good.
pretty.
really was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Some of
And
those people
Some
were real
the
artists.
artists, true artists.
Yeah.
But some
So
people just, tagging without any
Right.
artistic, I mean, that's
No,
like me going
if
out
you
doing it.
had somebody like Stay High 149, he was an artist. He was actually the first person to spray paint a train, hit a train. But you had back then what they call were toys. Toys were people that didn't have the talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
The,
would have been one of those
the
trying to do
worst, yeah,
something.
the worst graffiti is somebody putting something on that was just a nasty word, and then that's not art, right?
No,
Yeah.
no.
And
Well, there was one. It couldn't have been the city hall station, but it was one of the abandoned stations.
Hmm.
And sometimes this train would stop, just stop, and it was only lit by a naked light bulbs. And when you pulled off, there was this wonderful painting of a man sitting on a horse, an Arab dressed in Arab clothing,
Mm-hmm.
in front of a pyramid, the pyramid in the distance, and he's got a rifle slung over his back. And I used to just like look at this thing and marvel. It was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay,
was
you were on the train going down to Brooklyn Bridge, City Hall.
I think it was City Hall. Yeah.
No, no. What it probably was the Worth Street station.
Mm.
Right. There you go. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah,
Worth
Worth.
Street Station.
Yeah,
Yes.
Worth Street was the stop before you hit Brooklyn Bridge City Hall,
Right.
and a lot of graffiti artists used to go into that abandoned station to ply their trade.
Wow.
Just like before you get up on the Manhattan Bridge on the Brooklyn side was the Marcy Avenue station, and a lot of graffiti artists used to do their work there. Now, if you catch the J train or the M train going up to going up onto the Manhattan Bridge, if you look through the window at the Marcy Avenue station going towards Manhattan, as the train moves, you see like animation.
Wow.
Yeah, because they had hired an artist to do art thing in the station. So as the train moves, you'll see like a rocket ship, I think it is, apple. You know, I think the apple is being peeled and the rocket ship is moving.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like you 34th Street on the Q and F, you have a soundscape where right before the train gets in the 34th Street station, whether it's north or south, you hear like a sound of the best I could describe it is electronic bubbles. You know,
that's what
Wow.
James hears because he's like he
Electronic.
takes.
So is all this to be this soundscape? Is that to keep the passengers entertained or what?
yeah, it's at one point MTA decided to get artists to put artwork down in the stations. It's like one station you have it's like a mosaic of tiles. I think
Mm-hmm.
is 8th Street. It's a mosaic of tiles, but it's like hats. But the thing about it is they're hats that were worn by famous people.
Oh, cool.
Hmm.
Okay.
But
Um.
in a show like Friends, did they have a show? I never watched that show that much. Did they ever show that those characters going on the subway ever?
No.
Does
No.
anyone know? And how could
No.
you, if that's not the case, how is it that you could live in the city and never go on the subway?
No. I don't.
Unless you
I
live
don't.
in a penthouse on Central Park West.
Ah, yeah.
Um. No. I don't know how a show can fake the funk like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
even rich people, poor people, everyone rides the subway in New York City. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometime in their life, you can't have this huge thing that rumbles underneath your feet and not experience it.
Never take it ever.
Yeah,
But it's just like watching something like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. When they really, they kind of have that
that's a,
Philadelphia
that's
life.
a
Yeah.
yeah that's an
Mhm.
authentic show.
Yeah. 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 That's one of those
I feel
shows.
they get I feel they get it right. I
Yeah.
feel they get I feel they
Agreed.
get the city of Philadelphia right.
Yeah. I mean, and as far as that goes, are there shows that you think that um get New York right?
Hmm.
I don't know. You know what? It's always like those gritty cop shows, and maybe get it right, like the old NYPD show.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't think of really a show that gets the city of New York right.
Oh,
No,
it
it's
depends.
some New York shows they get it wrong on purpose
Why do you think?
because they don't want people to actually go to the real address. That's why if
Mm-hmm.
you get a show that says a murder occurred in a building on 23rd Street, they'll usually put down 635 West 23rd Street.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to 625 West 23rd Street, you're gonna be in the Hudson River.
Ah.
It's just like the the Ricardo's address on I Love Lucy. That actual address you would be in the East River.
But why make that up? Because I went to DC. When I went to DC, I went to the Ford Theater and I saw it. And when
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln was assassinated,
Right?
Uh-huh.
I said, "Yeah, big deal." It didn't
Well,
look
No,
like anything grand like I thought it would look.
well, no,
no.
it's just a
What
theater.
Oh, come on.
was
it was 18, what, 64? What do you
Yeah,
think
it's a
was
yeah?
going
Well,
on
I'm
theater.
back
thinking
there?
it's going to look like Carnegie Hall, or it's going to look
Oh,
like.
right.
It's
Okay.
just a theater. It's just a theater.
I think
It's
it's going to look like a huge theater, like a New
and
York
plus
theater or something.
No.
hello. It's gonna be basically it's a museum by now.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Which is
so
essentially what it is. They
yeah,
do have shows there on occasion,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like, in constant use.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like this. The president is going to be there. I think it's going to be like a
And
a,
eight,
a closet or something. Look like a closet.
no,
but in
they
1864, it was a grand theater
Well,
Yeah.
like
Right. It
for
was.
who? I mean, what
for
was
people in
Carnegie Hall built
1860.
then? I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
It
maybe.
was.
no,
Well,
it
maybe that's the
wasn't.
whole issue that they never built it up, built it out, and left it the same as it was. Because it is a historic site.
Right. Just like the house across the street where Lincoln died, that looks the same. They haven't
Mm.
done anything with that
Yeah.
except keep it up.
Yeah.
I was thinking it. I mean, whenever they show Lincoln being assassinated, they never show the outside of the theater that I'm aware. They always show like the inside. Wilkes Booth
Mhm.
sneaking up behind
Mhm.
Lincoln and shooting him. And
Mhm.
another thing they always get wrong,
Mhm.
historically wrong all the time, is they try to make John Wilkes Booth into a random actor that
Mhm.
shot Lincoln and killed him, and then jumped off
Now,
Balcony.
the balcony. And
Yeah.
that's not how it that's not. I think people would you know be more interested in that history if they knew that the history of all of this, it was a conspiracy, and John Wilkes Booth was like the Brad Pitt of his day, and
Yeah. He was
you
an
know
he's an important actor, which is why somebody would just let him in. Because
Right.
who would think that somebody of that stature would do such a horrific thing? You know, no one would presume that Jack Nicholson or Brad Pitt, or George
but have
Clooney
you ever seen a
would do such a
have you ever
thing.
seen a movie, a show, Hollywood television show or movie that showed John Wilkes Booth being this Brad Pitt of his day, or just some
No, they
loony?
yeah, they just seem making some loony. And I think it's real important for people to know that
yeah.
individuals who had stature, would do something like this. So there's no safe person,
No,
you know?
I think I think what is his name? David L. Wolper. I think his name. He was
Hmm.
the one that produced Roots. He used to have there was a show he produced on I think CBS where he did historical reenactments, and I think he got it right with Booth. He didn't. He just showed Booth for what he was, uh, vicious white supremacist that had issues.
But
Hmm.
he's Brad Pitt, who's a vicious white
Yeah,
supremacist.
yeah, and
That's
he
different.
no,
That's
he
different.
he in the show he emphasized that at the time,
He was a well-known actor.
yeah, in fact, it was like think of a well-known superstar acting family because Booth came from a family of famous actors. His
Mm-hmm.
father, his brother. Okay. So I think with that, I don't even know if you can find it. Maybe you can find it on YouTube. But that there, he got it right. The
Yeah,
producer.
yeah. But what you're saying is one show got it right, but every time you see it, 99% of the time is wrong. They
Yeah, but
maybe
that's because if Booth is a madman, that makes it more dramatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, instead he's a narcissist.
Right.
And and even now, as we have come up and we find out that all these actors that we're watching and thinking, they're normal people that are really, fringe people.
Yeah.
And if we are brought up learning very young that this was, a very well-known actor and he was fringe and a narcissist, then I think people would be more likely to believe now when we see these fringe people that, yeah, they are dangerous,
Right.
and use their popularity to do very dangerous things. And it's unfortunate that we find these things out now, that we're adults and way beyond those periods where we should been, when you're in school, high school, college, whatever, and be able to share this information with each other. So
But you can't have
Going back to addresses, the fake addresses. I don't now you made me think of this because I don't know if it was part of the joke or if it was to keep people from trying to find it. But do you remember the show Get Smart?
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, Control was
yes,
located on J Street.
uh-huh,
There is no J Street in Washington.
really,
Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably
that's
why they
cool,
did it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably
It-
why they did it. Just like every time a student gets in trouble on Law and Order, they're a student at Hudson University, and there's
no
no
such, huh?
Hudson University. There's been many times when I've seen on Law and Order they people walking around like it's a subway terminal or
Hmm.
train station. It's actually the Javits Center.
Mm.
And they also film it looking up towards the Galleria.
And what do you mean there's no Hudson University? What? I need to get my money back. I graduated from there.
All right, where was it located? You attended classes in a White Castle?
Well,
White
it's Hudson
Castle. Okay,
University.
very good,
They did have a
very
lot of
good.
hamburgers. They did
That's
have a
right.
lot of hamburgers. They did.
Well, they
Very
say
good.
generally most people say that movies and television always get their professions wrong. Like reporters don't get as much time as film reporters do
Hmm.
one story. Uh, the other thing is and stuff. Okay, we don't have time for backup. We're going to go in now, and nobody ever says, "Well, we get paid by the hour." I mean,
and
um,
and there's always an extra camera person.
yeah,
There's never you're the camera person when you're covering most news stories. You
yeah.
don't get your own camera person. They're called photojournalists and they go out by themselves.
Now, one good thing they did, I thought, on Abbott Elementary is they used the thing about the film crew going around, but this is the
Uh-huh.
only show where the characters actually interact with the film crew.
Hmm.
Like on Modern Family, you never know when they were talking to the camera people, were they talking to them in between the times they were doing something,
Hmm.
or something like that.
Yeah, didn't
But
they do that in the office
they did
also?
it in the office, yeah,
Yeah.
but they always talked to the people, but they never interacted with them or anything like that. But
Hmm.
on Abbott Elementary, they had a television crew came in, and they said, "You brought another crew in?" They said, "No," and then one of the
Yes, no,
characters said,
just they're following, you
"Yeah,"
know.
and one of their characters said, "No, you, the guy with the
Yes.
snake tattoo on your arm, no, you guys can stay, but they have to go." So
Yeah, yeah.
that's it.
But
But
acknowledging the existence of their different camera crews.
But one of the things that they always seem to get wrong in when William Gibson wrote Neuromancer, it was obvious to even people who could just like format a floppy disk or something that he really did not know a lot about computers.
Mhm.
That for him, computers were like magic boxes that could do anything, and they just
Mhm.
went through it. He's gotten better now, and he's a little bit more savvy. But that was something that they also get wrong is whatever you need done is they can do it in two keystrokes. You know, so we got a print on this car. Okay, so this was a blue Toyota Forerunner, 1998, and it has a bad shock absorber and stuff. They can tell all of this stuff out of nowhere. And
And I
then,
remember, yeah, one of my friends was saying how crazy it was. They watch these shows where the people are, I guess, police shows where they say, okay, we're going to go do the forensics, and then okay, we'll be back like the next day. The guy, that is like, if we get it back in weeks, we're doing
mhm,
real good. It's like
yeah.
they act like just automatically gets done. It doesn't happen like that,
Well,
you
every
know.
once in a while they'll say, "Well, stay on them, ride them until they get it, because we need this now." So, okay,
Yeah, like you're gonna make it happen any faster
yeah,
by riding the people's back. It's like a chemical reaction
Yeah,
occurs at the time that a chemical reaction occurs.
and
You
people think that in real
yelling,
life too. People think
yeah,
that if I bother the hell out of Penelope, I'm gonna get what I need like Thursday.
yeah, yeah. But you know what? A chemical reaction only occurs at the time it occurs. You bothering me does not make it happen. If the sun takes 24 hours to rise and set, you riding my back will not speed that up.
You
You
know the other
know?
thing? The other thing is dial tones on cell phones.
Oh my, my, my. That one, when you hang up the phone, then automatic, it's just like,
You hear dial tones?
so, yeah, who has
How
a
do you get
dial
a
tone
dial
on their
tone on
cell
your cell
phone?
phone?
Ever notice that? If you hang up, you
Or
have a dial tone, and they
or
all
when
have a
they
dial tone.
or when they try to slam the cell phone for dramatic.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
why would you? Because you're just clicking it off.
Right.
Why would I break my phone to show I'm mad at you?
Yeah, right, right. So yeah, those things like that.
Well, another one they do, and this was a professional one, is that people in library personnel, we don't shush people. We have, they did that, stopped doing that like 30 years ago. We will ask you to keep your voice down. We'll ask you to be quiet. We'll
Hmm.
call the security to get you escorted out. But we don't go around shushing people. And they always have librarians overrepresented as being female, and they always wear their hair in a bun.
Right.
Regardless of ethnicity, they wear their hair in a bun. And the
Well,
craziest one they did, and I'm sitting there saying, they did this again in Star Trek Insurrection. There's a scene where Riker and Troy go to the Enterprise library. That this is a starship that has three main computer cores, and it still has a person actually keeping records with her hair in a bun, shushing people. And
Wow.
300 years from now, I don't think they're going to be doing that. And the fact they
Yeah.
actually have real books, nobody
Yeah.
just no, they don't have Google in 24th century, but they went back to doing books or something like that. So,
Yeah. See, there you go.
yeah.
well,
See,
I like the image of the sexy library and librarian number one. You don't fit that mold, Cranston.
okay. And I,
Then number two is it must have been 30 years ago because I have been shushed by a librarian.
yeah.
But
I
they were
went
What
profiled.
grade? What grade were you in?
like fourth or fifth or something
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh, that's
And
that's
the first thing I thought of in my mind was a B word. What a B.
yeah. Yeah, so you all enjoying your library time. Like, y'all will not believe it as we look at it. We are about at time.
Wait a minute though,
We
Penelope.
didn't
One
even
more
talk
thing.
about medical shows.
Yeah, one more
Well, y'all
thing.
should have done that instead of talking about other stuff.
One more thing, Penelope. One of your
Uh huh.
favorites about that involves Batman. Remember Batman?
Which one?
When Batman, Bruce Wayne, and his family are
Oh
caught.
my gosh! And I have a issue regarding when they go into the urine soaked alley and they're accosted. That every iteration you see the pearl necklace break off and the pearls scatter all over the ground. I mean, it's like it's written to the script that
Mhm.
everyone is required to do that. But understand, this is Bruce Wayne's mother, was a Martha Wayne, who is
Mhm.
a very wealthy woman, and she probably is wearing a pretty expensive string of pearls. All pearls like that are knotted. They're
Bingo.
knotted, yeah, they're knotted so that you don't lose the individual pearls like that. So when the thing broke, all they would lose is like one pearl, two
Right.
pearl tops.
Now, every
But
so often, you'll stumble across, like I have an akoya. Akoya is a Japanese oyster, and that's the
mhm.
pearl. But for some odd reason, though, that strand is not knotted. For
How weird
some
are they? The
reason,
ones are
yeah,
they
I
the ones that
really can't tell you why.
are they irregularly shaped ones or are they
Yeah, no, they're
cultured pearls?
yeah, they're cultured pearls. But for some reason, that's not. And I'll tell you, when I bought it, I was surprised that it wasn't knotted. But hey, it was so pretty and it was pearls. I just had to have it.
Yeah, that's like me.
Maybe that's what she had.
Well, we're gonna say that for now. Then you just saved the Wayne's honor because I'm like,
What
why she
what
wearing
what
the
what
fakey fake pearls?
what were they doing in the urine soaked alley though?
He had to
I have no
pee.
idea why they were going through that place anyway.
He
I
had
Now
mean,
to
like
that
you've
was
pee.
never
always my
been,
question.
Alfred would have brought the car to the front.
No, they had to
Right.
yeah,
pee.
something.
They had to pee.
I mean, like they act like
They
they don't know
just
where they're
left the
living.
building.
But
Yeah, but it's
even if Alfred didn't have the car, I can see them walking down the street, but I just cannot see them going into an alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Right.
That makes no
he had to
sense
take
at
a leak.
all.
He had to take a leak, y'all.
He turn around and go back into the building.
They
Yeah,
closed it.
man, they probably
He's
own it.
Thomas Wayne.
I
They
know,
probably
but there's
own
no more
it.
shows tonight. It closed. I gotta take a
Uh-uh.
leak now.
He's
Sorry,
Thomas
man.
Wayne. They're gonna let him in the building because he could probably
Yeah,
buy it and then kick up.
Yeah.
I'm
It's easy.
sorry. That just
It's
makes
easy.
no. I mean, I
No,
know
no,
that's
no. It's
their
easier.
canon, but it makes no rational
It's
sense.
easier to add some urine to this urine soak alley than to knock on the door because then I may wet myself. So you know.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay.
I think the preference
That
between wetting yourself and being killed, I'm
they
going with the wetting myself.
because
Okay,
he didn't want to go to the hospital. That's
if
it.
if all of us go to the movies, right,
Uh huh.
and we're watching something like that or Batman,
Uh huh.
if you guys start that while the movie is going, I'm going to the other side and
Oh,
sit
we're not
down.
gonna do it at the
You're
movie.
you're
Oh
not
We're
my
going
not
god.
gonna do it
anywhere. You're sitting
now. We're
with
not
us.
gonna do it in a movie.
You're not going anywhere. You're sitting with us.
No,
That's right.
no,
He's
no,
with us,
no,
y'all. We just want to let you
no,
know.
no, no, I'm
That
not. No, I'm
guy over
not. No,
there,
no,
he's with
Get
no,
us.
back over here.
no.
Yeah,
Oh,
one of
Then you're
us.
not at the right New
One
York.
of us.
You're not at the right New York theater if you're running away from us.
Get back over
Yeah,
here.
that's
Because
right.
we talk back to the screen all the time.
Yeah, man. I'm
and you
sorry. Yeah.
see, and you see, that was annoying to me then, and it's annoying to me
Oh,
now.
okay. He wants it quiet in here, quiet on the set.
Go
Mhm.
to a library. A
That's
librarian.
Yeah.
right. That's right. You'll be fine there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
go see a movie.
that boring,
Okay.
quiet
All
place.
right. I'm gonna say. Okay. You raised the issue, Sonia.
Uh huh.
Um, and your issue was about medical.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a moment.
Doc,
Please tell us
doc,
about the medicals.
doc. One. Doctors don't argue cases in front of patients
We hope.
because that opens up you to lawsuits.
So which
Uh,
case? Okay, give us a case where the doctor has argued the
A
case in
show.
front of the patient. A show, a
A
film
show, a
show,
movie.
whichever.
almost everyone but ER.
They are because I'm
House
trying to
does it.
think.
House does
We
it.
have that. I think the House would because I could not watch that show. It was so irritating to
Um,
me. I could not handle it.
they do it all the time on the soap operas hospitals. Um, I'm like, all you had to do if you're going to sue them for malpractice is just take out a recorder and record the doctors arguing back and forth in front of you. Where's some other ones? Uh, Not Scrubs. What was the other one? I had another one,
I love
but
Scrubs.
St.
ER.
Elsewhere.
Really. Except, of
Uh,
course, what is his name? The one who's administrator, who's the attorney, who always trying to kill himself or something.
That's Scrubs.
Yeah, Scrubs. Yeah, I love that part. I think that happens to many attorneys. And he says like, what he's saying, like his having to sleep in the same bed with his mom or something. I was like, I was like, yeah,
Well, what
yeah,
about House?
yeah.
House. Well, House is House. Um, they're
Can't you
always
see
the
this man? Can't you
hospitals
see
are
this man
always
has a brain tumor? No, he doesn't. It's a
how
headache.
yeah. Hospitals are always dark and dank, and I'm like,
Hmm.
since when?
Since now, you ever been to Kings County?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. How was your visit?
Okay.
Well, one thing that they that always get wrong on medical shows is somebody who's in the gang or the only witness to a crime or something gets shot, and they bring him into the hospital, and then somebody sneaks in by getting a pair of scrubs, and they go up to the room to finish up the job. And from an experience that we had when my nephew was in the hospital, and he was a victim of a shooting. And so I was trying to go to the room, and they said, "Well, who are you?" So I said, "Well, I'm his uncle. Here's my ID and stuff." And they says, "Well, no, you can't go up there because you're not authorized to go up there. So
Hmm.
no, you do not get past admitting to go up to the room to finish up the job in a real hospital."
Well, that's because of HIPAA now. You
Yeah,
can't get up. Yeah, but we didn't have HIPAA 20 years ago.
Have you
yeah.
ever been to Kings County?
Yeah, but I mean, also, I
I
mean, the
could
thing
finish
that
you
they
off.
have.
I could
Um,
finish you off in a minute. I just walk right.
yeah, but I think like in old hospitals in the old days, you know, they would say somebody went to a hospital and they stole a baby.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that is almost impossible.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, you go
You
on.
can't
I mean,
even switch babies now.
no, I mean they have them so that you have to be what do they call it? Scanned, and have to match the scan, the UPC code on you and the child,
Got low
and make
jack.
sure they're the same low jack. You have a low jack on the baby. It
Wow.
cannot even be taken off the floor. The thing will shut down.
Mhm.
So there's this was very, very high tech. I mean, the most high tech thing I ever saw in the hospitals beginning was that the way they did the security on the maternity floor.
And
It's like,
all the doctors know everything about every specialty.
right, right. Who knows
Oh
everything about
yeah,
everything?
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not a teaching hospital. Got to add that. Teaching hospitals can get away with it a little bit. But yeah, because you have to know a little bit of everything for to be on in a teaching hospital. But other than that, no. My mom had to go in for I think it was orthopedic,
Hmm.
and the wrong intern came into her room and started talking to him his stuff, and the doctor almost castrated him to get him out of there. Mm,
Wow.
no, you don't know what
You
you're
don't know what you're
talking
talking
about
about. You must leave now.
now.
Well, isn't that interesting? Does anybody know of a law show, Perry Mason, any of those, where you had an attorney who supposedly knew everything about everything?
Like was a criminal lawyer and also a civil lawyer and
Yeah, and all of that.
I can't think of one off the top of my
Matlock.
head. Can you?
How about Matlock?
I didn't really watch all of
Was he
Matt.
a
I watched
lawyer?
what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's Andy
okay.
Griffith Lawyer is what I call it.
Andy Griffith lawyer. He knew a
Andy
lot about
Griffith
a lot of
Lawyer,
stuff. Yeah.
Matlock.
Yeah. He was. There are no general practitioners in law or medicine anymore, right? So,
Mm-mm.
but I think Matlock was.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, if you're talking about, a lawyer who is in a smaller town,
Yeah,
yes, it will
Madlock
be
was in
general
Atlanta.
practitioners.
but he was in
But I'm
Atlanta.
thinking of, a lawyer in, well, these shows
Hmm.
don't take place in smallish towns. They all take place in
Usual big
Well,
metropolis.
cities.
well,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
arguing that. I was arguing that with Penelope, and she told me that Matlock apparently is in Atlanta.
Yeah.
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 Gentle.
That's
Yeah.
a
So
big town.
he's in
That's
a
a big
city.
city.
Yeah,
That's a
he's
big.
not in a little city. He's in a
I
big
thought he
city.
was in some small place in South Carolina.
Yeah. Mm-mm. I said no. That's Andy Griffith's lawyer,
Yeah.
not Matlock. You got it
Well,
confused.
well, the problem I have with law shows is you get arrested Thursday, and then your trial starts next Wednesday.
I know that doesn't happen in real
Oh,
life. That's
yeah,
the time
yeah.
compression. You're right. It's very
Well,
unreal.
it's like that.
Very unreal.
It's like that Twilight Zone episode with Dennis Weaver,
Yeah.
and he has a dream, and he's like indicted and tried the same. Like it all happens
Executed,
in one.
like within 24 hours,
You know how long it takes. You know how lazy judges are.
Ah,
That's the one thing that Perry Mason gets right. I mean, when the judge says, "Oh, it's almost 10 o'clock. I think we should recess for lunch.
yeah.
I'll come back later this afternoon at 2 o'clock."
Yeah. Not playing around. It's not a break for lunch.
Hmm.
At 2 o'clock, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll
Yeah.
come back at 2 after I take my
Yeah.
nap.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, wait a minute. To be fair to judges, when if they recess at 10 or 11 o'clock and say we're not coming back till 2, that's not a 3 hour lunch. They've got other stuff to do. Maybe they are writing an opinion for another case.
All right, Judge.
You're welcome.
See, look at her. We know what she's about now.
I know.
She's
Come
on the
on.
other side. Let's
Yeah.
litigate. Looking at you now.
She's going out to
I
lunch
look
with
at
her.
you with askance.
Well,
She's going out to
well,
lunch. She's
they
going
have
out to
to.
lunch with her clerk and stuff.
I
I
mean,
know what's
side
up.
eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to go get their test results. Those test results are coming back in an hour, aren't they? They took them at the
Yeah.
beginning of the hour. CSI is
Okay.
Oh
going to
yeah,
have them the
yeah,
results.
Yeah.
Back.
Okay. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll be back with that in an hour. Give time to
Oh,
get
how
there.
about this? When the going back to the medical, when the hospital, the doctor um, wants a test or something for a fungal infection or something like that.
Hmm.
Well, doesn't that like take 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Grow a culture in a petri dish,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they're like,
and he
okay,
wants it that afternoon.
yes. How's that gonna happen?
I'm
Any
And
gonna
it's
keep.
test.
I'm gonna keep bothering you until you give me what I want.
right.
Any test
Right.
that's not an X-ray, you ain't getting it back right away.
I keep
Yeah, and that's
bothering you.
something.
I
And
keep
now, I mean,
calling
that's an
you.
incredible thing. When I went to the doctor, it was several years back. But when I went in to get an X-ray, it's like you get the X-ray. In the old days, okay, with like 2 weeks and blah de blah blah, 3 weeks, blah de blah. And I was like, okay, do the X-ray, and by the time you're at the doctor's office for your appointment that day, they've already got it. Wow, talk about now that's real good time compression. That you X-ray that day and they've got it by the afternoon. You go in the morning. I think that's incredible stuff. Now that they could have, and I would believe, but some of these other things, testing, that involve all these chemical um, compounds, that you have to, like you say, you have a fungus, you have to grow it in a petri dish. How in the world are we going to get that back by the end of the day, or the next day, or 5 days from now?
That
It's
quick
got to
grow
pass through so
solution.
many hands,
That quick grow solution. That's it.
That must be it. That must
That
be it.
Jack the Beanstalk solution.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I just need an explanation. That's all. Just like Roxanne was explaining about the pearls. All I need is an explanation. So and I'm good. Just tell me how it's plausible, and I'm with you. Okay. Well, I don't know if there any others beyond
Wait,
our medical. Go on.
someone just put in the Facebook chat. Perry Mason is the only lawyer that always happens to show up at the scene of the murder.
Now this is the thing that's really interesting to me as I watch Perry
Yeah.
Mason, and I do that. What are you doing there? Why are you going? You're the attorney. You're not the investigator. Stay out of there. No wonder he's in trouble all the time. No wonder they think he's involved with all this stuff. Why would you
Well,
go?
the
I don't
original
look at
Perry
anything. I was
Mason,
just like, you are the attorney.
That's
You are not a witness. Do
that's
not
be,
go.
he was transitioning from Perry Mason to Ironside. That must be it.
That
yeah.
must have been it.
Yeah.
That
Well,
must have
the
been it.
original Perry Mason back in the 30s was much closer to the HBO Perry Mason, where he was in kind of a gray area.
Hmm.
So yeah, he was a lot more adversarial in the novels at first, and then gradually he became more upstanding. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, but I know when we started watching
So
Perry
so
Mason from
Perry
the
Mason
beginning,
was a
yeah, they were
shyster.
really. Well, I
yeah,
mean,
well,
yeah,
yeah,
that's what they made it seem like that he was like, you know,
Yeah,
um,
that's why his ass got
because they're trying
shot.
to get
That's
him
why he got shot.
arrested.
That's why
yeah,
his ass got shot. Yo.
that's the main reason Trag just didn't like him.
He
Trag
got
just
Yeah,
shot.
to cuss him
Yeah.
out every time he saw him and stuff.
He
yeah.
was in a wheelchair. He was in a wheelchair.
I mean, I
That
just
didn't
think it's
stop him though.
crazy.
That didn't stop him.
But I thought it was really interesting when I remember seeing Perry Mason when I was, a kid in passing because I never could watch the show, but in
Yeah,
passing,
you
you
know,
think,
it had
okay, it's
great.
just its
Perry
attorneys.
Mason had great music, but
Hmm.
it's
Yes.
like the most boring show on that I could ever watch. And then they had these books with this
Corpus
Latin.
Juris Secundum,
Yeah, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, but I tell you,
But really great music.
It's a book
yeah,
you don't want to know anything about. Trust me.
I,
right.
I do know about it, and that's an unfortunate thing about it. I do know. I do know what Corpus
Yeah,
Juris
that's
Secundum.
unfortunate.
I do know what Corpus Juris Secundum.
Yeah, but I think that as you were watching the show, and I when I was a kid, you're watching Perry Mason. He's an attorney. He's a criminal attorney winning cases for his clients. Then I started watching. I mean, and I'm saying just recently, like in the past several months, that we started watching Perry Mason. I think it was on Meet. What is it on Court TV or what is it called?
Me
Justice
TV,
Or
Me
TV,
TV,
Me TV.
and Byron Island's new channel,
Yeah, Court
Justice Channel
Justice
or whatever it's
Channel,
called.
something like that. But as we were watching it, I did not realize how adversarial the relationship between Perry Mason and the prosecution was. I mean, saying things to him like, "Oh, you and your antics, your court manners are going to work here, and something's going to happen, and we're going to make sure you end up behind bars." It's like, wow, this is getting awful personal, not at all like the professional way that I figure, that they should be approaching him. It was very shocking. And I guess part of it is, as you see nowadays in things like what is that show Law and Order, that you have all the time the defense attorneys that try to denigrate them,
And
you know,
don't
and
Law and Order aren't they? It seems like to me, somebody correct me, but a lot of the defense attorneys are black or people of
I don't
color.
think so.
You don't think
I
so?
I no, I see a whole bunch of just different people, but no matter what they are, they try to denigrate them.
what they
And
did,
always the defense
yeah.
attorneys are slimy and underhanded. And I was really surprised 'cause I started thinking how that kind of harkens back to the way that they treated Perry Mason simply because he is a defense attorney and doing the job of providing a defense to people who have been charged with crimes.
Well, wait
And
a minute. In shows like Law and Order, you mean the defendants are actually paying the attorney? They're not from legal aid?
No.
no,
Now,
Oh,
they're
okay.
some episodes they're represented by legal aides.
but so
Some
many of them, these people have their own attorneys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're
You
always a
know,
high price person. You taking this pro bono? Well, I just say I think it's a good case. They did an episode of last week tonight, I think a couple of years ago, that they talked about Dick Wolf shows and Law and Order in particular. And it said
propaganda
that
shows.
yeah, that when Dick Wolf did the show, he said he wanted to show that the defense attorneys were the bad guys, and he was on the side of the prosecutors.
He did a
Yeah.
good job. I
Well,
think
yeah,
so.
and it's really quite a sickness.
well, he must have changed his views because over the years you had prosecutors that were alcoholic, you had prosecutors that tampered with evidence, you had
Yeah, but you know
prosecutors.
what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
They're alcoholics. They're tampering with evidence, and they never lost their damn job,
Well,
and it's still
that
there.
part that part is true. They are,
Right.
yeah.
no, you're on the show you had with special victims. One lost her job because
Yeah.
she was just all over the place and whatnot, and I think she used to come to work with a bottle of vodka in her
Yeah,
suitcase.
I've seen that with other lawyers too, and I know lawyers who were addicted to crack, and they're just like normal people, man. It's actually
Yeah,
worse.
they would say that they're functioning addicts.
Right.
People that they do this stuff, and if the reality is that it's not on the show. They make it appear that, oh my gosh, everybody can tell. A lot of
Nobody
times you
could tell.
can't. And I'll tell
You
you,
can't
I
tell.
know some of these people that I have dealt with. I mean, this is not even like criminal court. It's like regular civil court. There's one guy, I mean, it's like, well, good thing I didn't smoke because I lit a match around this guy would have blown us all sky high. I mean, it's like his pores were suffused with
Yeah,
alcohol. Everything is
unfortunately,
smelly.
you see lawyers like that
Hmm.
at the DMV. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
no,
just
that's how they make quick money. You know, before the DMV opens up, they go, along the line of people waiting, and they ask, do they want to be represented? And that's how they make their money real quick.
yikes.
What you're not allowed to do is to solicit like that. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to. But you know what? Crack pipes are good, and it do relieves a lot of tension that you get during the
Okay.
court. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome. Thank you.
you. Yeah. All right. Any
He's
other
your own.
things that people are doing wrong?
Well, I
No.
thought one of the things that I can't understand is why writers perpetuate so many writing cliches and stuff they do. They don't do it anymore, but I mean, we grew up watching somebody picking away on a manual typewriter and said, okay. And then they would like type two sentences and pull it out and they just like to throw it over the thing and you see it go into a wastebasket full of paper. And even in those days, paper was expensive. So
Yeah, you just erase it.
you just turn and flip it on the other side and type on the back, you
Yeah,
know.
or
And
you erase it.
And
You put
that's why we have whiteout.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, or the little correction tape, which I
So
And
love. So,
everybody can type. Everybody now can type. They have laptops and desktop
hmm
computers. Man, they can go.
I have seen like my kids. I'm like, wow, man. They have their little fingers flying, like little blur. So you're actually typing words, you know?
yeah.
Wow. But they start early, with doing it. So I'm
I
impressed.
was going to say, Penelope, that's because you're a boomer like me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We just kind of like, we get to like, the punt and peck, and it was okay because
Take Penelope like
apparently
half
we
an
weren't
hour.
supposed. Yes, it
Take
does.
Penel-
I don't. Oh God, don't ask me to text you anything.
No, she
I
Do
has.
was
not.
going to
Hey,
say,
Penelope.
texting is, I just can't handle texting.
Hey,
Either.
Well, I
Penelope.
do,
Hey,
but
Penelope. Are you
if
going to be
you
at the
text
movie?
me, you're going to get an answer 15 minutes later, and I've been typing the whole time.
15 minutes is
Me.
fast compared to Penelope typing.
Oh.
Hey, Penelope, are you going to be at the restaurant today? Half an hour later, yes.
Well, for all of us who do not
That's
learn
be-
to type yet with their thumbs, is
Oh man. And my
one
thumbs
of
are
the
flat
operating
and
systems.
wide, and I
Yeah,
type 7 letters at a time, and spend all my time trying to uh
Correct it. So
that's
instead of
because
correct it.
spelling yes, instead of spelling the word yes, it's YIE. She can't get the word right.
one of the
that
things done on one of the updates on one of the on the Apple operating system is it
Uh-huh.
will predict what you're going to type. So sometimes I've done whole sentences, and you type down with, and it'll go to whatever give, and you just hit that and stuff and
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
you can take your finger and just drag it from
Oh
letter.
no, that does not work for me. Understand? Flat, wide fingers. I got 7 letters coming out every time I'm touching anything. No,
A
no, that's
bunch of
doesn't
because
a
you're
bunch
work.
of
that's
a
because you're
bunch of
used to the
obscenity, a
AAA
bunch of
to get to the
obscenities.
BBB.
Yeah,
Hmm.
along with obscenities and really vulgar words come out.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh my God, what I do to
That's what you said. That's what you mean.
Oh my goodness. No, man.
That's why
Mm-mm.
you use the mic to type and then go back and correct it.
You know what?
Yeah.
The latest episode of Abbott Elementary. I'm not sure if anyone's seen it, but I'm not trying to spoiler anybody.
Hmm.
But this somebody used AI to respond to an email, and you know what? They thought it was offensive. But after that episode, I'm thinking, you know what? That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. AI do this work for me.
Yeah. And I'm thinking
So
the
does
last
that
email.
absolve you of responsibility then? Oh no, man, it wasn't me. It was the AI.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
mean, like
That's
I'm
right.
thinking like the last email I saw yesterday afternoon after I shut down, it sounded like an AI now. Now look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know usually when you jump off the thing, everybody's like, Roxanne, actually she got a rocket on her and she shoots away. Stan, I want to ask you a question when we get ready to get off. Do not jump off. I would ask you a question. And with that said, we are getting ready to wrap it up. So anyone, if you have not shared your favorite got it wrong, or your indication of someone or something you think got it right, jump on in now. Anybody, Cranston, anything in particular that you think they got it right or got it wholly wrong?
Um, I can't think of anything right now, but there have been sometimes they have done things that did sound correct. The other general thing they always get wrong is you have these generic scientists that this is doctor such and body that's going to do this. You never find out what their specialty is or what they
Mhm.
did, but they just know something that you said, okay, that can't be right,
Yeah, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, knowing what our weather was going to be like in Dallas, such that he didn't show up at the Cotton Bowl for the solar eclipse and was completely and totally wrong because he's not a meteorologist. He is an astrophysicist or astronomer, whatever he is, but not a meteorologist.
Mhm.
And wherever it was that he was, he didn't get the beautiful eclipse, which is what he deserved, for not coming to Dallas to the Cotton Bowl as he was supposed to, that people paid good money to see him. Something like that. Scientists doing things like that, for instance. I was just trying to, get that in there. All right. James, anything you can come up with?
Uh, I can remember some years ago there was a movie with Lawrence Fishburne and I think Kevin Bacon maybe about bike messengers.
Oh yeah, I remember that film.
Yeah, it was just too much trick riding and daredevil type stunts for me
Mhm.
because I knew bike messengers from when I was a messenger and they were just trying to get through the day.
Mhm.
Okay, and worried about losing that little bit of commission that they made. So all that crazy stunts that they were doing in the movie,
No.
no.
Uh,
And all this we're talking about is comes under the it comes under the sign of the magic of television.
all right. It does. I try to keep it interesting, right? Even if they have to create some nonsense that other people, because they don't have the experience or have not been close to it, they don't realize that it's not real.
Yeah,
And that's
it's
and I think
entertainment. Entertainment is smoke and mirrors half the
yeah.
time.
Mhm. All right. Sonia, how about you? Anyone that you want to add?
Folks who can make a complete animated movie in 1 hour.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Yes.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
remember. I don't think computer rendering has improved it
No,
that much,
it isn't. No, you cannot do it.
unless it's a
I've never
five
seen it.
minute. Yeah, unless it's a 5 minute movie. But there's no way you can make a 2 hour animated movie
I have never
in
seen it.
1 hour. Yeah.
Never seen it. Okay. That's right. Otto, how about you? Anything that you want to add?
Yeah, uh, jocks that are dumb and smart people that are unathletic. I hate
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
such a stupid trope over and over and over again. I hate it so much.
Yeah. This is true because and also I guess the ones that jocks being bullies, and I was not, you know I knew a lot of jocks when I came up, and I did not see that kind of, you know activity. I
I
mean,
know Penelope.
they
You
ran
you
with
were
Mhm.
Penelope. I know you were a major athletic supporter. I know that.
All
Oh,
right, smarty. All right, smarty. Yeah, okay.
oh.
All right, you're real.
Okay.
Doo-doo. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
okay.
a cold night tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think
Keep
I
it
hear
up.
Trixie calling me upstairs.
What I say? What I say?
Okay, all right, you keep it up, keep it up. And Roxanne, what about you? Anything?
Um. Well, I guess they don't do it anymore. Um. But when you have the cop chase through the city,
Mm-hmm.
um, like I said, I mean, not, like Popeye Doyle in the French Connection. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
don't. I don't even think they did it then.
That's
You
still
have those kinds of
dangerous.
car chases too, because there are too many
Yeah,
people.
Mhm.
yeah,
You got, not only do you have other cars, you got pedestrians, but
exactly.
on the other hand, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Because you got to dodge all these cars and stuff. I mean, and especially back then. I mean, I'm sorry, the cars. just didn't have, I mean, your basic Ford didn't have a rack and pinion steering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, this just wasn't the case. Much less the heavy duty springs. You know, the
Yeah.
undercarriage.
Yep.
And
I
there
look
was
at those
always,
and it's just
and
like,
some
yeah,
mother always thought that that was time to go take her child out in a stroller.
Yeah, the stroller. Now it's time
Remember
to take my child out of the stroller.
Oh, I give y'all a quick trivia thing. You know Bullet, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
Steve McQueen. The next
Yes.
time you watch that car chase with Steve McQueen, watch the Volkswagen. Every every time you look, whether he goes down a hill, up a hill, whatever, you see that Volkswagen.
Really?
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that was a cameraman.
It possibly was. It possibly
Interesting.
might have been. They used it to set up the scene for the stunt drivers. But
Yeah.
yeah, in fact,
Oh, okay.
not just the Volkswagen. It's another car. That whole until they leave the city, you'll see that same Volkswagen and another car during the car chase.
Wow. Okay. I'll look. I'll don't look. I
Yeah,
will. All right. All
And
right, you
except for
all.
those two cars, the
Okay.
traffic was light.
Okay. Thank you, Cranston. Thank you, rest of you all also for joining us tonight. Um, we are. You can have us here. I know you're probably following us here on Facebook. We also have the show on YouTube where you can go and like and subscribe. We appreciate that. We'll be back again next week, hopefully, if I've got it right. Next week, the link to the show will always be the same. So every time you come to the show to listen in, that you will always be able to use that same link. Cross fingers that it has worked. So again, we'll see you here next week in the other hood. Take care of yourselves. Have a profitable and productive week. See you later. Good night.
see you later.
All
Bye
right.
Good
bye.
night.
Right.